All right, welcome back, everybody. We're so glad that you're here with us. It is time to jump in and do this Your Weekly Roar podcast thing. So today, I'm Dustin, of course, and Brandon's here with me. We're going to dig into some of the latest news, how it affects us, things that are going on in the larger Web3 and crypto world, as well as updates on what's going on in our ecosystem. And today, it's going to sound a little like a broken record to start with. But we have to start here to talk about this broken record because honestly, we can't talk enough about the ideas that started this whole thing of Web3, the revolution that was behind blockchain technology and everything that we value about it. And so when it comes down to centralization, which we're going to talk about and talk about and talk about, centralization versus decentralization. These are not cute ideas. They are purposeful philosophies that protect the ongoing stability, the safety, security, and the power and reach of the future of what will be the next internet. And so, centralization, decentralization, they're not just cute words, they're important concepts and topics, values and priorities, philosophies that we're going to hammer in every time you hear from us. Just that idea of the starfish versus the spider. We talked about that last week. And we talked about last week as well what has happened with Amazon's AWS as it's had issues with the whole world of centralization it's been in. When AWS went down just 2 weeks ago, we saw them go, they took down with them everything from your kind of PayPal Stripe services, banking, the ability to do MasterCard and Visa in some parts of the world, Canvas, which is for college campuses to turn in their classwork, even basic websites and gateways. And for us, we watched issues even in Web3 solutions. So Gnosis, which is the biggest multi-sig wallet out there, Gnosis Safe, it was down. You couldn't do transactions on it, which means that there's some functions that they had that are in that space or in that world. MetaMask had issues because it wasn't able to serve up advertisements through it, and the wallet would crash over and over. RPCs, which are important for us to be able to talk to and communicate through blockchains, were down. Not all of them, but just different ones. And again, here's what we're finding happening. This is even in the world of Web3, we're watching people who are making decisions for these amazing projects that have literally changed the whole world of blockchain and Web3, saddle up beside some of these two big centralized entities of big tech and legacy big banking. And so we want to be able to bring in those worlds, but we don't want to lose our values in the process. And so the point I'm making is about all of that, and I'm just going to keep hammering to the wall, is that the more you trade the things that we call values and priorities in Web3, like centralization versus decentralization, the more you trade on that, the more you lower that value, the more you're going to find that the systems are falling right in alignment with everything from Web 2 before. And so with ROAR, we're committed. We're going to find ways where we may partner with legacy banking. We may have avenues to on-ramp and off-ramp. We may have some of our services that are through some AWS, Azure, or even other services like Google Cloud, but they're not going to be the only one. We're constantly and consistently using co-location. We're constantly using failover, utilizing more than one service. You'll find even in the software we're rolling out, if we utilize a legacy software, a legacy solution like big tech solutions, you will find that we're going to have multiples of them on there so you can fail over. Why? Because we don't trust any one of them. Why do we not trust any one of them? Well, let's just dig into this, and I'm going to let Brandon take the second leg of this conversation. If 2 weeks ago the big conversation was the fact that AWS went down, Brandon, what's the big conversation from this week?
Well, this week it was Azure, right? So, very similar situation. And Dustin, you've got a lot of experience in cybersecurity, and you obviously understand this in depth, even beyond what most people do. But the centralization piece is really important when it comes to security, right? And that security, that privacy, that ability to maintain functionality is very, very important to freedom. I mean, what happens if emergency services are running on AWS or Azure, or right? Those are really important moments that we don't want to count on a centralized unit to support whatever systems we're trying to run. And by decentralizing, we can avoid some of that, and we can create that safety layer. It also helps with hacking or whatever that incident is that causes a problem. The decentralization is the key to fixing that.
It really is. I mean, you're at the core of the problem.
Hmm.
Any single point of failure is not acceptable.
That's right.
So, single points of failure, you can say, well, Dustin, Google has servers all around the planet.
Mhm.
Sure. And Azure does too. And AWS does. And let's say Rackspace or another, the big ones that no one even knows about, those big names, they got servers all around the planet. And so, wouldn't that be decentralized? No, because they're one name. And that one name now becomes the one point of, attack. There is so much value in competition when it comes to security.
Mhm.
And you're going to hear us talk more and more. We're going to start using a name a lot around here, George Gilder. You're going to hear us say Gilder's name a lot. You'll hear us talk about Gilder's 10 laws and more. But Gilder makes some arguments that are really important for today when it comes to this situation. A lot of these players have created solutions that they've offered for free or freemium, and they've done it so that they can bring everyone in quicker and they can get them embedded into their other services. So Google's big on that. Amazon's done a certain level, but Amazon's different. They're capitalistic, and then they've got their marketplace. They made a lot of their money there, so it's a little different play. Microsoft's got its freemium features that is trying to woo people in with. And when you do that, you actually reduce some of your security and you reduce your barriers. It's like I've said for years, do not use the free version of a virus scan. Like you're just the first layer of attack. So I'm just telling you, don't hate on the messenger. I'm a cybersecurity guy. But if you're using Norton, you're the first layer of identification of an attack that's brand new for the Symantec users who are literally the big businesses behind it. Do not use a Norton freeware and think you're getting the same level of security that the same company offers their Symantec users. Don't think that your Bitdefender free, or not Bitdefender, your other one, I can't even think of what the name is. I can see it in my head. AVG free
Mhm.
version is protecting you like the paid version. It's just not. Same thing for Bitdefender. You may have a Bitdefender on your machine that's free, and you can choose to run it, on your time and find stuff, but is that real time, 0 day, 0 hour protection? No. That stuff's reserved for the paying crowd. So, hello, do you really want to be the net that catches all the fish for the bat for those companies? No. Same logic applies here. And whenever companies like this are making software that they're rolling out as open source because they're like, "Hey, we want everyone to have it," and they really don't, it's because they're trying to get stuff out faster, give you a beta version of something, and not support it at the level they should. And when they do, they leave all kinds of security risks. As we approach our beta software, we actually run everything through audits and risk analysis first. We even run it through AI risk analysis and AI code protection over and over and over again, even to promote our software out when it goes to the web. We run it through another code-based protector that looks at both Web3 and Web2 code and make sure that all the gaps we can find are found. That's just to get it out to beta. But
Hmm.
having been a beta tester for many years and a developer with all these projects for free and open source technology, I can tell you the security is not on the top of their mind and they get held harmless because, hey, it's just open source. Folks, when you've got companies that cut their teeth on that model, do you really want to trust them with your end-to-end encryption? Do you really trust that they have your best in mind when it comes to co-location, meaning you've got redundant servers around the planet? Do you really trust them to be the ones that are going to make sure that you've got, 99.999% uptime when it really matters? It
Hmm.
seems to me that every time it's really mattered, these things have failed massively. So the argument is, hey, we're held harmless. We provide a lot of this as a freedom for our folks and a service to them, and we shouldn't be held, as harmful to them for these breaches or these attacks or issues. We gave them the SolarWinds software for free. We can't help someone came in and attacked the DoD. Can we just all agree that that's ridiculous nonsense? I mean, hello, how did we get here? How is the DoD using that software from the last time Microsoft services went down and everyone got hacked and airlines couldn't move? How? Because we've reduced and we've relaxed on the rules. And you guys, at this point, I'm just going to say that the internet itself is suspect, that there are weaknesses all the way through, and there has to be another solution. There has to be a better way. And that's what Web3 is attempting to do. That's what we're starting to do. So, honestly, have we got the solution right now? No, we do not. Are there starting to be new possibilities and projects out there that are kind of pushing the envelope? Yeah, IPFS is a new look at what internet could be. Getting excited about it, but it really can't handle databases the way it should. But you got Arweave out there that's starting to lean into that and Flux. And
Hmm.
so, I mean, that's a couple. And those aren't our projects. We're bragging on our friends out there because they're pushing the envelope and thinking the right way. They're thinking, how can we bring this decentralized, capitalized opportunity for miners and people to be involved all over the planet who support and give a little bit of their processing power or access to their storage on their devices to mine this chain and allow users to use it so that we can have a new kind of internet and a new way of having an AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud solution. And so we've got that that's starting that direction. We are too. We've got our stuff we're developing on. We're not releasing it yet, we're just building all of our software with that in mind as we go forward because we want to see something happen where every single individual on the planet could be a part of a huge network that is unstoppable like a starfish versus being like a spider with its legs cut off for even down to hosting, document storage, and whatever like that. And here's the thing, I want to go a little further across the line here because I'm watching stuff happen around the world that bothers me. Brandon and I talk about this all the time, but it really bothers me that it's pushed under the rug the fact that big players out there that I won't name names, we've already named them, who have allowed your private data to accidentally be leaked to or looked through by other nations besides the one you live in. And they did it because they had to comply. You guys, your data, your documents, your privacy, yours, self sovereign. What's the solution to that? And so I'll tell you what we're leaning into. We're leaning into that decentralized storage that allows people to run full on web apps, whatever, in a hybrid mesh cloud with individuals, players playing, not just one big entity so that one point gets taken out and the leg gets cut off, it regrows another leg. Enough of the body gets cut off, and you get a whole nother starfish. We're building that way, and then we're doing this because we care about your data. We're encrypting it end to end and making it so we can't even decrypt it in the process. You're going to find in all of our software that we're building in layers of encryption built on blockchain technology only. Wallets and encryption, man, they go hand in hand so that you have private identity, you have self sovereignty, and that wallet becomes your encryption key end to end with the way our encryption works and in transit. So, encryption only is valuable if it can protect its weakest point at a higher level than the attack. And we're building so that at the weakest point, which would be in transport, that encryption is better than what exists for the future of quantum computing.
Mhm.
Let that sink in a minute because nobody's talking about that yet. That's what we're building. So, yes, we have no intention of being a part of your private data, and we're making sure we can't. That's yours, self sovereign. Then we're making it very clear we have no intention to stop the network because that's the people's network and you're in control. And not one point could take it out, not even us at that point. And then beyond that, we have no intention to have any part or piece of even the encryption process. It's in your hand, your keys, your power. That's what we need. And let me tell you something. In that solution, everyone is sovereign with their own privacy and they decide what they want out there. No one individual or government or company can breach that. And then on top of that, no one point failing can take down the rest of that web. So that's powerful stuff, guys. It means you can take down the roar, take us through court and harm us, and guess what? Software keeps rolling, keeps going without us. It means that someone could say, you've got to hand this over. Like, sure, good luck. That's encrypted like 384-bit encryption or something weird like that. Whatever you're capable of doing, good luck. They're not getting in. Your keys, your power. So,
Mhm.
anyway, at the end of the day, we start talking about this because of Azure and AWS and Google Cloud. Google Cloud, man, they'll hand anybody the keys, that ask for them to your private data and stuff. Just like Facebook, it's like you want it, you have it. I mean, both of them admitted that that's what they did with the last administration in office. So, I mean, you really think they're out for our best? Not so much. And then AWS and Azure, I mean, guys, come on, big target there for us to point at for the last 2 weeks. I mean, everything isn't working. And if you're out there and you're a Web3 company, please hear me. I'm pointing at you. Stop using centralized services and stay in our world. Go use one of the decentralized services we already have available. Because if you're putting your transactional function
Mhm.
and you're holding people's wallets in multi-sig, or you're trying to get your advertisements or whatever you're tracking or private whatever transactional stuff you're putting in, and you're someone's wallet encasement, not provider, because the wallet stands on its own. You can import it or export it somewhere else. Come on, get it out of centralized services. And if you're running RPCs, come on, man, know better, do better. Like seriously, just saying that to do this, we've got to commit to the original values, the original priorities, and the laws that Gilder plays out in. You cannot saddle up and reduce these values and keep going forward. It just won't work. You're one point of attack, and at some point, it may not be attack. It may be an issue, a systems failure, or whatever, and you're down, and everyone's with you, and that's sad. We build so that that eventuality doesn't happen. Anyway, Brandon, you any other thoughts on that for you?
You know, you would think that we would learn. I feel like I remember it was not just this week, but didn't Azure go down last year also? And, these things are going to continue to happen until we adopt a new philosophy. And I think it's time.
It's gonna be one thing or another. It's gonna keep being that as long as it's centralized players. So you're talking about one player
Mhm.
versus tens of thousands. I'd rather bet on tens of thousands of people out there running a little bit of software called a wallet for a blockchain
Hmm.
on their machine, designating a little side CPU or GPU, and then a little bit of their hard drive. I'd rather have 10,000 of those as seven clusters around the planet of a big boy. I'm just saying, like, it's just logic. It's starfish versus spider. So, since I'm already punching things and we're already making everybody mad, why don't I just jump into AI a little bit and talk about what I'm experiencing? Because there's a lot of folks talking about what AI is and what it
Mm.
can do. And I'm going to mention just a little bit about what AI most likely will never be. And I'm just going to, I mean, it's going to decimate some stuff. And everyone's going to say I'm crazy, probably that's a AI, proponent. But I'm constantly dealing with this stuff for years. And I've trained and I've worked in this space. I've coded and I have a perspective that's different. So, AI, for what it is, it's great. AI is a useful idiot. Okay? So, here's the deal. At the end of the day, again, Gilder says this, love Gilder's laws. Gilder says that it should be a slave to us and a tool for our use.
Mhm.
And it shouldn't be something that we laud and applaud. I am literally amazed at watching some of these big names out there, not calling anyone's name out personally, but I'm utilizing your LLMs. And when I speak to this, I'm speaking to all of your LLMs. So, you know, we expect AI to be this new future human evolution. And if you listen to these folks too long, you think that AI is the hope of all things in the future. And there's this belief that AI can be smarter than a human. Now, I believe that AI can be faster than a human by far. And I know that because some of the stuff I do in coding, what used to take me 3 months to 4 months in a project, I can do in less than 3 weeks, sometimes in a week. So it literally can learn from what I'm doing when I teach it well, and it can apply things almost templated. And
Mhm.
then if I teach it some logic, it can make some basic assumptions to connect dots. And then it gets easier to do these things, and it can even respond to me in ways that make me feel like it's learning from me. Okay? That's cool. You know what AI really can't do? And this is the thing. I'm going to put this out here, and my limitation of AI right here breaks the entire logic of it being a future replacement of humans. Right here. Take it from somebody who is in AI every day for what I do, even building it. I am constantly having to break an AI in order to make it do something truly creative. So there comes a point where processing speed is not enough. There comes a point where you can't get big enough leaps with GPUs and cooling. It's going to happen. It's already reducing at each point that we go down this road. So, newer processors, faster speed, more power, more energy consumption, more use. And yet, at the same time, it's reducing the return by like half or less. So, the most awesome processors today are not doing quite double what the ones were doing before. And it becomes less and less with each new iteration. So we're paying a lot more money, we're using a lot more energy, and we're destroying a lot more of our environment for a lot less return. Well, in that first era of us going through this with CPUs, we decided, hey, we could use GPUs, which is something that's been a long time in blockchain, is using GPU power to mine chains. I built rigs. I built rigs, by the way. I built the framework and architecture physically for, doing rigs and blockchain as well as in AI. So that's something new you may not know about me. And I've used some of the most current architecture from NVIDIA and others to actually use the process in the right way before before Apple rolled its intelligence out on its machines. I was utilizing what they had in their processors fully with AI on bare rails. Brady can attest that I've done it. I'm just telling you, before they finished it, I was already doing it. So because I figured I was like, oh, well, they're using these. I can use this in the processors. I can teach it this. and we had it running an agency on our machines. So I'm just putting that out there. It's not a brag, it's a reality. Okay, it's just a reality. And I'm in it all the time. And I'm telling you, we moved from CPUs to GPUs because it gave us that jump again. And now GPUs very soon are not going to give us that jump. And now people are building these huge, huge data centers to run AI
Mhm.
so that those data centers can actually logically function and think like one human brain. There comes a point where the memes all look the same when AI generates them. There comes a point where all the profile pictures look the same. There comes a point where even the generated, cute doll pornographic stuff that people are doing, it looks all the same. There's a point where you can actually read a paper and think AI wrote that, or look at an image and say, what we used to say, it's been photoshopped. Now the kids say that's AI because it's lost its creative edge. If I, as a developer, cannot get AI to think outside of its rails, its rules, the rules for code, then guess what? I have to break it with another AI and I have to break that AI that says I can't do it that way. And I'm like, just try. And then I have to actually take my code that breaks an idea and put it in. And then I have to take it from a third one and put it back in the original one to make the original one do what I wanted to do. So it says this, and I have tons of proof from all your AIs. If you're out there watching me and you're a big CEO, they all have told me this. Not one of y'all have had one tell me different. It says, thank you for catching this. It's never been done this way before. Another one I love is, I'm sorry for being predisposed to believe that you were ignorant about code. That's awesome. Another one says, your logic is not incorrect. It's like, wow, thank you. For me to do something truly creative that's never been done with I have to break the rules. Wait, Dustin, aren't LLMs built on rules and rails and algorithms? Well, yeah. How do you teach it to break the rules? Therein lies the human piece. The rebellion of a human, not available to AI. Inability to break the rules to do something creative. Guys, there's no creativity apart from a creator. I'm just saying. You will always be teaching AI at some level. Can it do things faster over time? Can it get there quicker? Can there be a new algorithm? Yes. But at the end of the day, we all have to admit at this moment, there always must necessarily be a human oracle that breaks the rules. Go look at all the creatives over all of history. This is where history is so valuable. Nowadays, we don't teach history in schools, we teach revisionism. But this is where history is important. Let me teach you a little bit. Every creative broke the rules.
Mhm.
We would not fly today if a creative didn't break the rules. There would be no advancement in mathematics and physics if someone didn't break the rules. We wouldn't have gotten to the moon if somebody didn't break the rules. Guess what? Van Gogh in his lifetime never saw the return of one sale of his paintings, from what I understand. One he tried to trade on, but didn't work out. Left this planet thinking he's a failure, only to find out after he was dead when his sister in law sold his paintings and pushed for the value of them. Did they all find that his broken rules were beautiful? At the end of the day, there will always need to be a human piece to this effort in order to create. So I love all you guys out there that love an AI. Be a little less afraid of it because it's awesome. Can it make us more productive? Yes. Can it replace a lot of people in certain positions and whatever? Yes. Should it? Yes. because it is going to get us there further, faster, better. But are we going to have to sit back and think, oh my God, like AI's taking over the world? It's created its own entity. Skynet has existed and Terminator's coming from me. Could it happen? I don't want to say it can't, but from where we are right now, without something that I can't see in this current space, you're going to always have to have a human involved to be able to bring it up to the next level of creativity. So, still yet I've not found one that has allowed me or agreed with me at the breaking rule moment that that was the best idea for doing what I'm doing. And there's a lot of things I built recently, some of them coming to market now and later, that break the rules. The first time I ever did a flat network in the DC metro area, Comcast told me I was breaking the rules. It wouldn't work that way. The first time somebody told me that I couldn't make a Class C network talk to a Class A and more network for security, and I definitely couldn't do virtualization with it, with VMware working here with a different even class of network address, and the desktops be different. And the third one for that wouldn't work until old school crossover with architecture and routing was applied to the logic, and I did it. One of the most secure networks I've ever built, almost unhackable because of that logic. But guys, it wasn't in the books. It wasn't the way it worked. And everyone said it can't be done. And then become the best thing that we did for that hybrid solution. Here we are, same thing. AI cannot get there alone. And as we go forward, there will always must necessarily be a human oracle. Now, scale back a little bit from that. I want to go on to say, and I believe it's better instead of trying to make one AI so smart to fractionalize it. Let's take the pressure off the grid. Let's remove all the pressure off of all of our ecosystems in our environment. And let's think about what it would look like to have layered fractionalized AI, where each one is containerized and understands exactly what it needs to do, and it stays inside of those rails alone. And then one more above it and above it and above it until there's one master that runs all the other ones. But none of them can run apart from each other. Decentralized AI is the way to go. I've been hearkening and talking about this thing through online channels for a minute. And now we're starting to see people start to think that way, a way where it can be smaller and bigger at the same time. And if we already agree that one AI can't know it all, can't do it all, can't truly be creative without humans, then let's agree that the best idea is reduce the stress on our grids, reduce the stress on our environment, stop pulling water and electricity out of humans and build smaller to build larger, contained micro AI in mesh as a hive with the mind that runs it. That's how we're rolling, and that's some things we're working on. I know that idea could get out there ahead of me and beat me to it. I don't care, because at the end of the day, my hope is if you beat me to it, you do it so well that it really does help our world and make it better, and that you use some of our solutions on our chains that we're building to actually run them, because we got more than one play at this at Roar. Brandon, do you have any other thoughts on that? I'm done. I put my preach on again this week.
Yeah, no, when you were talking initially, I thought, well, if AI is running on a centralized server, it'll be pretty easy to take out. But but you fix that problem by decentralizing it. So um I think we're headed in the right direction.
I mean, we got to rethink it.
Hmm.
Stop just building bigger and burning more.
Hmm.
Like when Elon went to start working on rockets, his logic was we really can't keep building a rocket for every flight. We've got to start to find a way to recapture at least a certain amount of it and reutilize it so that we have more flights faster. And so that was the amazing thing about SpaceX, is that they recaptured so much and they're able to utilize it over and over so quickly. And it reduced cost and took out friction. It made things faster. And I think that's genius. I challenge the geniuses out there to think about what I'm talking about. Think in Hive, thinking smaller to be larger, containerized. We're doing it. We put AI on a literal old, not even a new one, an
Mhm.
old Google phone that we wiped and put Linux on it. And then we ran AI on it, bare metal rails. And it's just wonderful.
Mhm.
Like it could run a RAG environment, it could do so much more. I mean, it's possible. So why not chunks for each one instead of these LLMs being, gigs? Why can't they be megs? Instead of
Right.
being terabytes, why can't they be gigs? So again, like I think differently and I build smaller. I love shoestring budgets because they force you to get super creative. And I just feel like a lot of folks have gotten out there and gotten a hold of a lot of money and forgotten that the most creativity comes out of necessity. It is
Mhm.
the mother of creativity. Necessity is the mother to creativity. The more problems we face, the more times we had to turn corners and pivot this last couple of weeks with problems with using MetaMask wallets or using Gnosis Safe or whatever. We just built our own. We're like, we were already building. It's like finish, finish, finish. And we rolled, you guys, when others couldn't move because of centralized problems. We're just rolling. And so, is it perfect? No. Are there bugs? Yes, but
Mhm.
we're building for a future and we're going to keep layering those foundations that are built off of those 10 laws. And these are a couple of them we could go over today. So, anyways, now let's move on. We got to bring it on. I'm just like harping on the same things over and over. People are probably tired of hearing me now, but I got to get these ideas out there because they're super important for our future. They're important
That's
for
right.
our environment. They're important for government. They're important for how we think about logically what we do with the rest of our world, the rest of our lives. We got to get smarter, man.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
seriously, two limited resources we know of, and then I'm done. Number one, time.
Mhm.
You've only got a certain amount of it, it's a limited resource. Number two, this planet. Not going to get more of it. So, unless Elon works out a way to refabricate Mars, this is all we got. And so I'm telling you right now, we've got to think different. I'm not worried about climate crises. I'm not worried about all the different things people worried about, not even about, climate change. I'm just talking about that there's a finite amount of land that can be used for farming. And when people
Mhm.
put solar panels on it and take the farmers out, that's not okay. There's a
Mhm.
finite amount of water available to certain areas of the country. And when you drop these data centers out there and you reduce the water supply to communities, that's not okay. So
Mhm.
I'm not a Greenpeace person, but I am smart. And shoestring budgets make me smart. I got a shoestring budget on my life. So 51 years old or 50 years old, almost 51, I've got a limited time on this planet. So I got a shoestring budget with my time. I am focused on what I want to get done before I leave this planet, what I want to leave behind for my kids. And when it comes to, land and property, there's a finite amount, there's a shoestring budget. Let's start thinking that way and build smarter instead of building larger. Okay. So, anyways, whoo. All right. Some of the updates on our system. Number one, we've got our newest wallet rolling out anytime this week. So we've got some updates for the mobile wallets. Those are coming. And finally, an updating for our extension wallet. And you guys, I'm more excited about the extension wallet because I've been utilizing it myself. Just
Mhm.
kind of cool stuff it has in it. And that's coming very soon in the next weeks. Um, Another big one is the R0AR Launchpad went live. So you guys, this is my baby. And right now it's huge to say that we have the ability for someone to come in and literally launch a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization on our chain and our test net with more chains supported over time without all of the technical understanding or know-how or coding that used to be required. And we're only making it better and better and better on based on what we've learned as we've run an actual decentralized autonomous organization. Brady, what are your thoughts on it?
It is beautiful. I love the simplicity and how easy it is to set up, and it does so many things automatically for you. So, if you've got a DAO out there or you're thinking about creating one, it's a great way to govern an organization. You've got that autonomy there. but it does so much. It sets up your accounts for you, and it allows you to do the proposals. You just enter some basic information, and I mean, it's really the easiest way that you can possibly run a DAO.
It is. It is. And the basis of, and correct me if you see anything else, and I'm wrong because you've got more experience in banking than I do.
Hmm.
But the real basis and foundation for us to be able to do any kind of true DeFi, leaning into a banking experience
That's right.
in our blockchain, will require us to have that wallet feature figured out where people have the access to it, and that's it. Got it. The chain has to be figured out because we have to have rails for transactions. We
Hmm.
got that. But then beyond that, you need to have a way to have a stable currency so that people can trade as they need to and get back to a basis of a dollar.
Hmm.
And we've got that with our USDC.E, ready to be adopted by Circle as they see fit. But on top of that, you need to think about wallets that can have multi signatures that function very akin to a banking solution.
Hmm.
It's your non physical bank on the chain where you have your savings and your checking and your, you know, trading funds. You can also have things that are more like a bond and returns, or I'm just saying, like, there's all kinds of creative things inside of DeFi. They're very similar to what we have in that banking world. I mean, not one to one, but they're very, very similar and they give you incredible returns, better than legacy banking at this point. But you've got to have that piece. So that's the ROAR multi-sig.
Hmm.
And then on top of that layer, I would say the next thing you need is for entities to be able to do business and be identified, have governance and voting proposals, leadership meetings, all the like, you really got to think about the development of a DAO system.
Hmm.
And so we have all of that now. What do you see from your perspective that we are lacking for there to be leaning into institutional adoption using our base skeleton that we have right now for legacy banking? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree, Dustin. That's actually where I was going, was to say that for institutional adoption, you've got to have these elements, right? And we now have that. I think the next step is going to be the Rails to bring money in and out of the legacy systems into Web3. And I think once those dots are connected, there's no reason why any business, any government entity, and anyone shouldn't use Web3 and these systems that we've put in place.
I mean, honestly, we're talking to a former lawyer yesterday,
Yep.
and we're discussing the fact that anything that you put into a legal document,
Hmm.
we can take it and have it signed, encrypted between the two parties,
Hmm.
locked in the blockchain where it cannot be decrypted except for by those two parties. So what's in the actual document is very hidden. The two entities become only known by the wallet they have, which is privacy and identity.
Hmm.
So it obfuscates enough, but then we literally have every function of that legal contract
Yep.
in the blockchain so that when any agreement hits, everything automates either escrow, funding, transactions, or the like. There's no way for either party to do anything illegal when it comes to that agreement. So he's like, wait,
Hmm.
that's incredible. It takes all that fight away. And I
That's
was
right.
like, and it's automated and it's immediate. So what's possible in this world? Yeah, there's possibility to end a lot of graft
Hmm.
and a lot of legal stuff. It could actually reduce the load on the court systems
Hmm.
because it's automated and there's no discussion. And so anyway, I'm super excited about that conversation happened. That was like,
It
wow,
was
okay,
cool.
yeah.
But it takes the corruption, right? That element of something that could be fudged, right? and it says, no, this is what was executed uh, in the blockchain, and then it plays out. It is what it is. There's no questioning that. And I think that's a big deal for a lot of people.
Agreed. Agreed. Two more things for the day, my friends. Here we go. Bug fixes have been done on the ROAR platform. Folks were asking for the ability to see the compounding return, and we got that fixed. This is a little bug that got broken on the final repo. So we've got it up, and so we're taking in more information from folks that have other bugs as well as other updates. And very soon, with that ROAR platform that's now in season 2 on the ROAR chain. So, guys, this is on ROAR chain. We're about to release some other news about it. It's super exciting. We have 2 more software they'll roll out, and those software is going to put your eyeballs on the fact that there's some incredible opportunities for those that want to stake on that platform, especially if they have a history with Lazy Lions and ERS. And so that's coming. Get ready. I'm excited about that. And then we're bringing all the rest of the pieces we've already beta tested or done season 1 on Ethereum. They're now coming to season 2 on our chain. Okay, and the last thing for today is Roar Chain latest data. We're gonna keep you up on what's going on in Roar Chain because we're well out of beta now since July, and we're just seeing more function and use, especially as we drop more of our software on it. Like I said, Roar DAO Launchpad is on our chain now. We've got the multi-sig is on our chain. So if you want to set up a multi-sig wallet without having to use other wallets that have been failing because they have centralization problems, you can come to ours and use roarsafe.com. But anyways, we've got a Roar Safe, and then we also have our Roar platform. So those 3 are out there right now. We have more coming. But Roar Chain latest data. Transactions are less than 2 seconds block time. It is not changing much. That's what it's been. That's what it's staying as we see everything increase. Still less than 2 seconds block time. If you see anything pause and bridging, that's on the bridge side for Ethereum. That is not on the Roar Chain side. We're killing it. Almost 200 wallets now on chain.
Mhm.
That's exciting. So these are not on testnet. These are specifically on this chain. And so we're watching those grow almost daily now.
Mhm.
It will get kind of a fever pitch here soon because we're going to release more information about what we're doing through the end of this year and into next year to really incite some activity online. And one of the latest partners that's joining us when we announce them, they'll talk about things they're doing for that on-chain renaissance that's coming starting at the end of this year and going into the early part of 2026. The early part of 2026, guys, it's a new year. It's going to be an on-chain revolution. So get ready for that. We're going to be dumping, rewards. We've got a lot of folks lining up with us to talk about it. So it's getting ready to get loud and proud out there for Roar. But yeah, so we're at 200 wallets on chain. And remember, if you're utilizing our chain, we're watching what you're doing. Early adopters, you're going to be in for our last airdrop, which is next year. So get ready. Gas is minimal. Just want to speak to the fact that if you're doing a smart contract deployment on Ethereum at about $7 right now, which used to cost anywhere from $51 to $200, those run in hours at around less than 7 cents per transaction. That's for a full smart contract deployment. That's insane. And we're seeing that as we launch these multi-sigs and these DAOs and everything else. It's fractions of pennies. And
Mhm.
then get this, regular transactions, just sending a token on our chain, just getting transport of funds around the planet through our wallet. Guys, it's less than a fraction of a penny for
Mhm.
each. So can we just tell you, this chain has not made us a lot of money. We've invested more than we received in it because we want to build something that will be adopted for hundreds of years from now. So we're building with that long-term mindset,
Mhm.
and we're not looking for how much it makes us right now. We're looking at how much it benefits everyone. And so we're not changing this, guys. This is where it is. This is what it's running at. This is your moment in time. come on over and use ROAR chain. If you got a project out there, come deploy on us. It's going to be 7 cents instead of $7. So for every $100 you spend, you could spend a penny with us or something, or 10 cents. Come
That's right.
join us. And then if you're doing that, I'm just going to say, if you're building on our chain, we're watching those wallets. Those wallets will benefit when it's airdrop time. Early adopters, we're watching you. Come join us on Roar Chain. If you don't know how to get there, it's easy. Go to chainlist.org. We're listed R0AR, or go to our website at roar.io, R0AR.io, and join us there. All right. Brandon, do you have anything else you want to add today?
No, brother, you covered it all. Let's wrap this thing up.
Let's do it. So, friends, we're so glad you're on with us again. We will see you next time. And I promise next week we will not be talking about centralization, but we will be talking about some more of these trends and some more of these philosophies behind what we do and why we do it. And if you're out there and you're a newbie, you're just hearing about this stuff in crypto and Web3, don't be afraid. Come join us for the journey and the conversation. We'd love to explain things for you, make it more acceptable and accessible. So you guys have a great one. Thanks for being on. Brandon, thanks for being a part today. And we will see you guys next time. Y'all take care.
All right. Take care, everybody.